Hello everyone, it's Mrs. Casey here and I'm delivering your assembly this week, and we are thinking about the power of words and the importance of them. So in today's assembly we're going to have a look at some the words that we think you should try and aspire to be, and we're going to have a look at some people who've used their words in a really powerful and positive way. So let's get started. So just a few sort of facts and statistics about words. The first being that there are an estimated 171,146 words currently in use in the English language, according to the Oxford English Dictionary. Underground is the only word that begins and ends with the letters UND. There are 47,156 obsolete words. The average words in a young adult novel is between 50 to 70,000 words. And listen contains the same letters as the word silent. There are 7,106 languages spoken in the world today. And this word, which I'm not going to try and embarrass myself and try and read, is the longest word in the English dictionary, and it is a type of lung disease caused by inhaling ash and dust. So when we're thinking about the importance of building up our vocabulary and having a big repertoire of words to pull from, it's one of the easiest ways that you can improve that vocabulary and increase it is to read. And you can see here the difference between reading 1 minute a day, which opens you up to around 8,000 words, through to reading for just 20 minutes a day, and that's nearly 2 million words there. So I quite like this visual as a way to just remind ourselves reading is obviously important because it enables us to tap into other worlds, other time zones, and stories and all of those things. And obviously we can read or we can learn from books, but it's also helping us with this vocabulary, building up this bank of words for us to use. So what I want you to think about is the words that you use, and are you using the right ones? We all make mistakes with the words that we use. I think that's in lots of ways can't be helped. I think everybody makes mistakes and we say the wrong things sometimes, but what are we doing to fix that? And is that just a one-off rather than a constant situation that's happening? So I want you to think about this. So do your words inspire people? Do they motivate people? Do your words empower people? Do your words support people? Do your words educate people? And do your words encourage people? Because if they do, you're using that bank of words in a really positive way, and that will inspire others to do the same also. Or do your words bully? Do they hurt? Do they interrogate? Do they belittle? Or do they disrespect? I've been a teacher at Lutterworth College. It's my 4th year here, and I see so many examples of this happening. People reading in assemblies, people reading in remembrance services, people reading as part of their English speaking exam, for example, writing your speeches and then reading them out loud, in French and Spanish speaking exams. There's so many examples of where I hear students being really lovely and really kind to each other and using their words in a really positive way. But there are also examples of where, and there are occasions where I hear people using their words to do all of these things, either to themselves, to their friends, to people they don't know, and to teachers. And whilst we have to take the good and the bad, what we do need to think about is if all of your words, or if lots of the words that you're using, if they're doing these things here, what good is coming from that? How is it benefiting you? How is it benefiting the person that you're saying them to? Because as well, we don't like it when people bully us, when they hurt us, when they interrogate us, when they belittle us, or when they show us a lack of respect. So we need to not then be part of that problem and not be using our words to do these things, and instead think about words that do all of this instead. And I was always told, if you've got nothing nice to say, maybe choose to say nothing. And that's something to think about as well. As a school, there are 6 words that you will absolutely know. You'll know what they are before I even show them to you. And we believe that they are words that are going to equip you with the skills you need to be successful, not just at school, but in your next steps as well, whatever they might be. And those words are to be courageous, to be brave, to stick outside of your comfort zone, to do something that you're not comfortable with and see how it goes. To be hardworking, which takes huge amounts of commitment and huge amounts of staying focused and not getting distracted by other people or things that are going on around you. Being reflective, and this sort of hits on something I've already said, this idea that if we've said the wrong thing, if we've said something that's upset somebody or that's hurt somebody or somebody might have been offended by or wasn't appropriate for the classroom or wasn't appropriate to say to a certain person, do we take the time to stop and to think about that and then make it right, to reconcile that and to say that you're sorry and to try and fix it? Being inspiring, encouraging others to be just as brilliant and giving yourself the encouragement that you deserve as well. I read something the other day and it said, if you wouldn't say this to your best friend, don't say it to yourself. And I think sometimes we're very good at being our own critic, but then being a cheerleader for others, but we should be our own cheerleader as well. Being supportive, if somebody's having a difficult time or if things aren't going well for them, what are you saying to that person to make them feel a bit better and to make them feel like they're not on their own? And then being tenacious, being determined and not giving up when things get a bit tricky and not just thinking, oh, well, I can't do it, so I'm just going to sit and mess around for the last 20 minutes. Instead, I can't do it, I'm stuck, so I'm going to carry on working at it. I'm going to keep working hard on it. I'm going to have the courage to put my hand up and say that I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm going to take the support from either somebody on my table, the TA or the teacher. Okay, so these are 6 words that we want you to take with you for life after Lutterworth. Okay, and we think that they, as I said, they really will equip you to be a really decent person going out into the world once you leave us. And we're going to look now at 4 people who have used their words in a really powerful way and have incorporated all of these characteristics as well into what they're doing with themselves, what they've done. So, 4 people, the first being Malala Yousafzai. Malala Yousafzai is a young woman who uses her words to try and campaign for girls' rights to an education around the world. And she was shot in the head by the Taliban at the age of 12 purely because she wanted to go to school and to learn. And she spoke at the United Nations on her 16th birthday, and this is a little bit of what she said. She said, "Dear brothers and sisters, we want schools and education for every child's bright future. We will continue our journey to our destination of peace and education. No one can stop us. We will speak for our rights and we will bring change through our voice." Oh, excuse me. Up next, we've got Nina Simone, and she is an iconic singer and is sometimes called the voice of the civil rights movement, and for good reason. Many of her songs perfectly capture life in the 60s, and she wrote Mississippi Goddam as a response to the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in Birmingham, Alabama, that killed 4 young black girls. Its lyrics, "You don't have to live next to me, just give me equality," paved the way for the song that was banned in a handful of southern states, and many of the records sent to radio stations were returned destroyed. Simone's song, Young, Gifted and Black, also became one of the movement's key anthems. We've then got Sir David Attenborough, and in November 2021, he spoke at the COP26 climate summit, and he said that the world leaders needed to rewrite our story. And he said that future generations would judge these leaders for their success or their failure at the conference that was taking place in Glasgow. Attenborough, who strode to the stage with a purpose that belied his 95 years, delivered his speech along with a film that illustrated 300,000 years of atmospheric carbon dioxide levels, along with accompanying increases and decreases in average global temperatures. Also shown were climate change activists from around the world with messages of concern and hope. And I'm just going to read you a couple of the things that David Attenborough said at that COP26 climate summit. He said that it's surely our responsibility to do everything within our power to create a planet that provides a home not just for us, but for all life on Earth. And he said young people, they care. They know that this is the world that they're going to grow up in and that they're going to spend the rest of their lives in. But I think it's more realistic than that. They actually believe that humanity, human species, has no right to destroy and despoil regardless. And then finally, Martin Luther King, and he wrote one of America's most famous speeches, which was called I Have a Dream. And this was delivered on the 28th of August 1963 during the March on Washington, and it was a call for equality and freedom. It became one of the defining moments of the civil rights movement and one of the most iconic speeches in American history. Some 250,000 people gathered at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. for the March on Washington and to hear King's speech. The one-day event both protested racial discrimination and encouraged the passage of the civil rights legislation. And the snippet from his speech that always stands out to me is when he said that he has a dream that one day his 4 little children will grow up in a society where they are no longer judged by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character. So, as you can see, all 4 of those people have used those words in a really meaningful and powerful way to try and create huge positive change in the world. And hopefully that has given you a little bit of inspiration as to how you might use your words in a really positive way, because we all have the same words. We've all got access to the same dictionary. We've all got access to the same vocabulary, but it's how we use those words and what we use those words for and who we say them to that sort of sets us apart. And I'm just going to leave you with just this final thing. Somebody said to me a long time ago, Charlotte, words are like toothpaste. Once that toothpaste's out the tube, you can't put it back in. Doesn't matter how well you try, that it's just going to go make it more of a mess. You're going to get it all around the rim, all around the lid, but you're not going to get that toothpaste back in that tube. And words are exactly the same. Once they're out, once you've said them, you can't take them back. You can apologise if they've not been the right words, or you can be proud of the words that you've used if you've used the words for good, but you can't unsay them. And the words that you say, as it says here, can only be forgiven, not forgotten. And hopefully you've taken a little bit away from this assembly and thought about the words that you're using and using them for good, using them to inspire people, to motivate people, to encourage people. Because as I say, we've all got the same access to the same words, so use them in a really powerful way. I'll hand you over now to Graham, and I hope you all have a fantastic week, and we will speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.